you know what I love the most about City winning, apart from the obvious massive endorphin boost of getting that 3 points? It's the day after, the Sunday after a good win. How much of a better day is it when you get 3 points and you know you've played well and there's so many positives to come from a game? Emily, what do you think of the match, the Arsenal game?
Totally agree. You don't have that battle, do you, as well, on social media with everybody fighting about who was to blame for it and who was the scapegoat. And yeah, it was fantastic. It was the defensive performance that really made me feel good, because it was a clean sheet and we looked quite composed at the back. So it was a breath of fresh air watching it. It was tactically, it was like a game of chess. So I can understand why it wasn't really swashbuckling, it wasn't like a real thriller. It was quite a forgettable game. I don't think we'll be looking back at it and watching it, from start to finish. But tactically, it was fascinating.
Yeah, you can tell Pep and Arteta. You can just see for the next, however long Pep stays with us, they're always going to try and second guess each other. And Pep's second guessing, and then we might already think of that, and he's third guessing. And our average formation was bizarre, wasn't it? Did you see at the end of the game with the position of the players?
Yeah, it was bamboozling to watch in the first half because of the movement on the back line, because they were moving around so much, just trying to confuse the Arsenal players. And Carl Walker was moving between like centre back, right back. He was going like everywhere. It's here, there, everywhere. The movement was just staggering. But we're used to watching the movement being like that further up the pitch. But it was so fascinating and interesting to see it like that in the defence, because it's not normally like that. It's normally quite static.
Yeah, spot on. Tom, what's your thoughts, pal? What do you think of Captain Raheem for the day?
Yeah, it was a strange one. I was surprised when I saw him as captain, but then I thought none of our other De Bruyne weren't in. Obviously, Fernandinho weren't in, so he must be perhaps running with us as a third choice, which says a lot again about his development during the time that Pep's been here. Because I think if you just said 5 years ago that Sterling would be captain in City, I think I'd have told you just that you're nuts. So I think that it's full testament to his progression, to his sort of the way he's matured. Obviously, he's had to handle a lot in his career that other players don't have to deal with. The amount of abuse he got when he first joined us from Liverpool, and then all the stuff he's had in the papers about his tattoos and buying a house, this, that, and the other, flying on EasyJet. He's had to have a lot of stick, and he's dealt with it really well in the large part throughout the whole time that he's had it. So I think as a person, as much as of a player, he's really matured, and I think I have no complaints with him being the man out on the pitch, leading the team if he needs to. And I think, he handled himself really well on Saturday.
Great. What's your thoughts on Ederson's performance?
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. He made that big save, didn't it? And people won't like the comparison, but it was such a Schmeichel save. It was like something that you would see from Peter Schmeichel, that kind of like making himself look so big, so imposing, and he was just fantastic. I think he needed that because he's had his critics recently for one reason or another. So to see him put in that kind of a performance was fantastic. But the defence overall, like Diaz and Ake, they for me are turning into two wonderful signings. I mean, I know it's early days. You don't want to get too excited because people said the same about Mangala.
Let's get excited.
I know.
Come on, Emily.
I was really excited. I honestly, because why I was so excited is because we need it so badly, don't we? And it was without Laporte as well. So that kind of defensive performance without Laporte just shows you moving forward that there is hope, because there's been so much pressure. Everybody mentions how much we've spent on the defence. Yeah. Every single game. I think it took
them. Did you see the thing pop up in the corner on Sky?
38 minutes.
Guys.
It took them. Yeah, and then they were talking about it. Every single game, it's so predictable. It's like City bingo. Boom, there you go. You can mark it off. Yeah, always mentioning how much we spent. So for me, it hopefully shut a few people up, and long may that continue.
Didn't Diaz look just commanding and settled? And I think that, to go on to the point before him about Ederson performing really well, that's got to be a mental boost for Ederson, knowing that someone is so commanding. And do you think that might have been why Ederson performed so well? Because he had that Diaz type figure in front of him.
I hope so. I mean, I think it's more reassuring, isn't it, when he's looking in front of him and he's got somebody absolutely bossing the defence for once. And he was like just telling everybody to get out of his space as well, wasn't it? He was shouting, he was pointing. That is exactly what we've missed. Yeah, he's everything that we've missed, and I'm just hoping that it continues. But what a start from him. Yeah,
brilliant, Tom. Dan Fielding put a post on Facebook the other day, and I really like this. It's not often he comes out with a belter. I'm only joking to Dan. Who's Pep Guardiola's best signing? And Kyle Walker's been named an awful lot of times. And do you know what? He didn't play well. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I mean, it was strange with Walker because unlike most signings that City make, he already had. He was an established Premier League right back. I think he was probably the best right back in the league at the time when we signed him. So it wasn't as much of a risk. There was always a risk with the price tag. There's always a risk of spending that much money on a player that it can go wrong. I think he was, I don't want to say a safe signing because no signing's a safe signing, but as compared to other signings we made, there didn't seem to be that risk factor there. But that being said, he was, how old was he when he came to us? Was he 26 maybe?
Not sure,
he was just shy of his peak, and obviously coming into a new club at that stage of your career, obviously he had to adapt, he had to change the way he played to suit the way that Guardiola played, and he's done it really, really well. And I think like Emily was saying before, he played here, there and everywhere at the weekend, and I can see him playing more in that sort of centre-back role as the season goes on, in terms of when Laporte is out injured or when Laporte can't play. The fact that we've got Walker who can play right back or centre back, we've got Cancelo who can play right back or left back, Ake can play centre back or left back. It just makes us so much harder for other teams to prepare to play us, in the fact that you'll see that back four of Cancelo, Walker, Ake and Diaz, and it could be played in 5 different ways. So and the fact that we can interchange that throughout the game to suit the needs of the game as well. Kyle Walker for me has definitely been up there with our best signings. He very rarely puts a foot wrong. He's made a couple of mistakes, but everyone makes mistakes here and there. But I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone or any of Guardiola's signings who have been as consistent as Kyle Walker in terms of consistently 7, 8 out of 10 performances week in, week out.
Yeah, I completely agree. Speaking of the defender positions, I've seen it a few times actually. Cancelo doing his little run, and he took on a couple of players, and he's got to be up there. He has a really good winger, never mind a defender. He can know how to. Tom, what's your thoughts on Cancelo? He seems to have started really strongly again.
Yeah, this is kind of what I expected from Cancelo when we signed him last summer. I think that the back end of last season, the start of this season, is what we thought we'd get. And like you say, he just seems so calm and composed with the ball at his feet. I mean, in the second half, where he took on about 3 defenders here, there and everywhere and pulled it back, and Luis nearly scored an own goal. And it's like, that's what we expected from him. And that is exactly what Guardiola will want from his fullbacks. And the fact that he is also a very good defender means that he's just, if he stays fit and continues to play like this, I think he'll be one of the first names on the team sheet week in, week out. And obviously I've said a lot about Mendy and my thoughts on Mendy, and obviously him being injured helped that decision massively for Pep, in terms of he didn't have to drop Mendy because he wasn't fit. But I think Mendy will really, really struggle to find his way back into this team when he comes back from injury if Marcelo and Walker stay fit and play the way they are, because they are 2 of the first names on the team sheet for me now, for sure.
Really good point, mate. I'm going to talk to you about Bernardo Silva for a minute, because when he's in that mood, what a player he is to watch. He's what a player.
And I loved seeing him in that central role as well. He had more of a free role, so he was just everywhere with it. His work rate as well is just stunning. But to see him, I think that he's wasted when he's pushed out wide. He's not as effective. But to see him running everywhere through the middle of the park, he doesn't do what David Silva does. But I think he's got more about him in the sense of like with his work rate and his effort. Yeah. For me, he was just fantastic, and he offered us something a little bit different.
And what's your thoughts on Sergio coming back then? Would you have risked him, or were you happy with what you saw?
Yeah. I loved seeing him back. There was something about just even seeing him on the pitch, just him being there. It was just reassurance. And I'm worried now, obviously, because the news about Jesus isn't good. Pep was saying that he's going to be out for, a fair few months. Mm-hmm. I'm not exactly sure what the problem is, but that's not reassuring. So it is vital now that we keep Aguero fit. But yeah, I was just really happy to see him. Just to have him there. I just kept looking and thinking, he's back. Do you know what I mean? It's just his presence. It just made a difference.
He does, doesn't he? He must do for the whole team as well. We just need to wrap him in bubble wrap, don't we?
No, this is the problem, because I'm just so petrified. If anybody goes near him, I'm kind of cringing.
Yeah.
Because we know that, he can pick up an injury quite easily and coming back. I wasn't worried about him coming back too soon, because he did look ready, with the training videos. He looked like it had been coming for a while now. But it is just concerning moving forward that we keep him fit, knowing that Jesus is out and knowing that the false nine, sometimes doesn't really work for us. It's important to have that striker up front for us.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, Tom, do you have any takeaways from the game, pal?
I think the defence is just the main takeaway for me. But apart from that, we've already touched upon that quite a bit. I think Aguero being back was so important at the weekend. And I think the fact that he didn't do a lot in the game in terms of, he didn't have many, I don't think he had any chances, and he didn't really create anything. But just his presence on the pitch is so important, in the fact that defenders are just knowing that Aguero's there gives the opposition just something to worry about. Yeah. I think when we play with Sterling up front or whoever else up front, and we change the team around so much during the game, the defence don't really have time to settle, but they've not really got a man to keep an eye on, if that makes sense. And with Aguero there, you just know that centre-halves are always mindful of where he is, which then creates the space deeper for everyone else to do their thing. So it was great to see him play 60 minutes, 65 minutes, not come off with an injury. He looked sharp as well, which I thought was really positive, in the fact that he didn't look like he'd just come off the back of an injury. Like I say, he didn't really create anything, but chances were few and far between in the game, because Arsenal set up really well. And I think if he can stay fit, I think we are looking really, really good. We had a conversation post Leicester and post Wolves and things like that, and we were looking at quite a worrying time in terms of, we still not signed a centre half, we have no fit strikers. But I think we're 4 weeks on from there now, and things are really starting to look positive, and it really looks like we are now in a position to start on a bit of a winning run and build some momentum and sort of get ourselves back at the top end of the table.
Do you know what? It's funny, isn't it? Because it's amazing what a week can do for the mentality, whether, you're in football, doom and gloom a week, 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden it's actually, do you know what? We can do this. The problem with this season is it's going to be so bonkers, and there's going to be so many more ridiculous results, and there are going to be more injuries. I hope Virgil van Dijk gets better soon. All well and good in football, but yeah, I want him to be back up and running, because obviously when City play teams, I want us to play the best team that's available to play against, so there's no comeback on us. So yeah, fair play to him, and I hope he comes back sooner rather than later. But for me, it's a massive turning point, and just that one goal can make a massive difference to us. We just need to go into the Porto game now, don't we? And we've got West Ham. Is it West Ham this weekend? Saturday?
Yeah.
And again, that was a bonkers result with West Ham. So they're going to be on a bit of the crest of the wave.
Yeah, that was brilliant watching that, wasn't it? That Spurs game. That goal at the end, oh my God. That's what, it's like I said on Twitter, that is where you want to be at the game. That away end will be going absolutely crazy. It's just criminal that you can't celebrate a goal like that. I know it wasn't for a win, it was an equaliser, but what an absolute thunderbolt it was. It was just absolutely fantastic, and to come back from 3-0 down as well in how many minutes. But this is the thing as well, West Ham are a bit unpredictable at the moment. They're capable of springing a surprise, so
I'm worried about any team we play at the moment.
Yeah,
and it's you know what, against West Ham, they had a good result the other day, didn't they, as well? Did they not beat Leicester or something? Did they not beat, they did quite well the other day, didn't they?
Yeah, it was Leicester, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Leicester they won.
this season is just, I feel kind of like it's all bets are off. I mean, who
Anyone
knows?
can win the league, can't they?
I was just about to say anybody can win the league. We could be facing a situation where it could be kind of like a Blackburn season or a Leicester season. And I think, although obviously I want City to win, I think it just adds to the excitement.
Mm.
You know, it is really unpredictable. We don't know what we're going to get game on game, but it makes it exciting. I love it.
Oh no, I can't wait. Well, the big, I know every game is going to be a test for us, but that game against Arsenal, we need to put that to bed now. Move on. We're going to play Porto, which we're going to talk about briefly in a moment. But the West Ham game is just as important for me. They're on a bit of a crest of a wave. We're away. I know there's no fans, but it's still an away game. So how we perform against West Ham will tell me how we're going to be projected in the next.
Yes. I think. I completely agree with that without a doubt. And the last time we spoke, we were really down, weren't we, Tom? We were just like doom and gloom, and we couldn't believe it. And it was like, what's going to happen? Somebody came on the call and was saying, oh, Pep could be sacked by Christmas. And I was like, get out of here, you know. But it's amazing now. the mood can swing. All it takes is just, you know, I just think it's testament to just how important that defensive performance was, because that was the main area of concern. It has been for a long, long time. Now, I know we're getting giddy about 90 minutes of football, but there's a long way to go. I get that. But it's just, we needed that encouragement, I think, from the back, because we've just been missing that for so long. That kind of, that like solid performance in the back. And Arsenal are no pushovers, you know. No, it's no mean feat getting 3 points against Arsenal. They're a good team.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
It was a good result.
You know, I'm still smiling from it. Put it that way. So that's always a positive sign. So we're going into the first round of the Champions League games, aren't we? At the group stage on Wednesday night, 8:00 kickoff against Porto. I'm assuming it's on BT. Tom, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it'll be BT. They have all the Champions League now, don't they?
All the Champions League games. Now, it's a funny one, this. They're second in the league behind Benfica, I would assume. Yes, behind Benfica. And they've got a draw, a loss, and 2 wins. So, you know, it's kind of like second in the table syndrome, but Sporting have got a game in hand just right behind them. I don't want to say it's an easy game, because it's definitely not in the Champions League, but it's definitely going to be testing to a certain extent. But we've got to be expecting a win there if we're going to do anything in the Champions League this season. We can't sort of think to ourselves, are we going to put our best team out for that, Emily? Are we going to risk potential injuries for that, or are we going to go out all guns blazing? What do you think?
Could spring a couple of little surprises, couldn't he? He's always capable of doing that. We can't predict it, can we? Who he's going to play, but as long as he goes with, I mean, I'd be playing like in the back line. I'd go with like Diaz. I don't know about Laporte though, so I can't really predict it because I don't know where we're at with Laporte's injury.
Laporte?
I don't know what his injury is, and I don't know whether he will be fit. So trying to predict the lineup actually is a bit futile, because A, we can never predict what Pep's going to do. B, we can never predict his formation. And C, I don't know whether Laporte will be fit, so I don't know whether he's going to feature. I don't know, but yeah.
If there's any potential injuries with Porto, though, he doesn't play, does he? There's no,
not a chance. And we showed that we don't necessarily need to risk him as well. We look comfortable, we look capable, we look composed. So why take the risk?
Yeah, absolutely right. Tom, what's your thoughts on the game on Wednesday, pal?
It's a weird one. I can't really seem to get myself excited for it. I just never can for the Champions League group stage. It always seems to be the same year in, year out. We've got quite a nice draw in terms of locations, in terms of we've not got any of the big teams per se. And yeah, I can't seem to get myself excited for it. But in terms of how we'll line up, I'm hoping we'll see a bit more of the likes of Ferran Torres, and maybe give Aguero a few more minutes, and then get one of the kids right off the bench up front and things like that. Give Bernardo a few more minutes because he looked really sharp against Arsenal, and I think Bernardo's the kind of player who needs consistent game time to keep that form up. So yeah, it's a strange one. I'm not overly concerned. I don't think Porto have got anything that really frightens me in terms of thinking they'll cause as many problems throughout the game. Well, like I say, we've had slip ups in the early stages of the Champions League in the last couple of years. I mean, we had Leon in the group a couple of years ago who beat us at our place and things like that. So we want to get the Champions League wrapped up as soon as we can. We've got a really busy schedule coming up of like 2 games a week for the next 6 weeks or so. So we don't want it to be that when we get to match day 5, that there's still a potential that we might not top the group, or that we might drop points, or we might drop out of the top 2. So we want to win these early games, really get ourselves off on the right foot, and hopefully, as we usually do, have that top spot wrapped up through the first 4 weeks, and then we can rest a couple of the key names and the kids when we get to the Christmas period where we're really slammed week in, week out. So I think the West Ham game's more important in terms of, if you ask me which one we need to win more, I think the league at this stage is more of a priority in terms of winning. If we get beat by Porto on Wednesday, we'll still go through the group. I don't have many doubts about that, but we can't really be dropping many more points in the league at the minute. But that being said, we could really do with getting off on the right foot on Wednesday night. Yeah,
well said. Right, so we're going to wrap this up very soon, and give me your now. Emily, last year I gave predictions, and I'm a bit superstitious. I'm not giving predictions this year because they went terribly wrong, and I didn't give one against Arsenal. We won, so I'm not doing it again. But Emily, I'm going to ask you, what's your prediction for the Porto game?
You want a score?
Scoreline. Come on, let's have your scorelines.
I'll go with a win because I'm forever the optimist, aren't I? So I'll say like 2-1 City, but you just don't know, can you? It's impossible to predict Pep. You can't second guess him because there's always something that will be a surprise. There's always, like if you want to go right, he'll go left. So I'll go with a win because I am quite confident. I'm always optimistic.
2-1 win. I like it. Go on, Tom. What do you reckon, pal?
Yeah, 4-0. Nice and easy, nice and convincing win to get us off. I just said that it's not that big a game, but I really do think we have this group stage tied up. It's just a case of getting better when we get to the knockout stages now.
Good man. Right, I'm going to leave you both by saying Pep Guardiola has won 500 games in all competitions as a manager, and that's 172 with City with his win against Arsenal. So fair play to him. Let's make it 173 on Wednesday night, please. Yeah. Very nice. Thanks for joining me, you two. I'll speak to you very soon.
Cheers, guys. See you later, please.
Good night.
Bye.